Hello, everybody, and welcome to FinalTake. I'm Michael Scott, and boy, do I have a great show lined up for you guys today. The Detroit Lions, as of now, are selecting third overall in the NFL draft next week. With the draft rapidly approaching, there's a lot of speculation that they may trade down and gain more picks with the spot for a team looking to grab a franchise quarterback. I'm going to sit here and tell you today why the Lions need to have a day to focus on the draft and find a reliable running back. Let's get it going, baby. So, since Barry Sanders retired on the eve of training camp back in 1999, the Detroit Lions' run game has been inept. Rushers have crossed the 1,000-yard plateau only 4 times during that span. At times, we've seen flashes of brilliance from players like James Stewart, Kevin Jones, and Heisman Trophy winner Reggie Bush. Still, they failed to acquire a feature back capable of carrying a Detroit franchise that continues to reside in purgatory since Sanders' unexpected departure. If you've watched the Detroit Lions, I'm sure you guys can agree, it's been a pretty rough going the past 20 years or so. If you're my age, could you imagine being old as my dad? Now, with the 2020 NFL Draft fast approaching next week, most media circles seem to be enthralled with the idea of the Lions trading down from the number 3 spot to acquire a bevy of picks. It makes sense. It's a move you often see from coaches like Bill Belichick, and it certainly can go a long way to helping the Lions field what they hope to be a competitive team this season. In exchange for the 3rd pick, a suitable trade partner would receive the opportunity to move up and find a franchise quarterback. However, most experts at this point are failing to recognize Detroit's opportunity to fill a glaring need, highlighting a running back selection in either rounds 2 or 3. And they're failing to realize that that is a must at this point and necessary for a ground attack that finished 2019 ranked 21st while converting only 7 touchdowns on the ground. Last season, head coach Matt Patricia's Lions were expected to be a team that set the pace with a strong focus on running the ball. With a renewed focus on the offensive line and a supposed young up-and-coming back in Kerryon Johnson, the team was expecting to alleviate some of the pressure off of longtime quarterback Matthew Stafford. Instead, Johnson missed 8 games due to injury, and Stafford was once again the primary focal point of an offense that was heavily tilted towards the pass. The team's performance on defense was vomit-inducing, to say the least. When healthy, Johnson was never able to get himself going, and the Lions weren't able to establish a pace early during games. Ultimately, the team often played from behind and relied heavily on the arm of Stafford before his season ended after 8 games due to broken ribs in his back. The guy was getting lit up out there. Besides his partnership with star receiver Calvin Johnson, it's Stafford that's mainly been carrying the weight of the Lions offense since entering the league back in 2009. Now, as Johnson appears to be the latest rusher to underperform at the position, it's extremely vital for Detroit to take advantage of the running back depth that will be available on day 2. Impact rushers that will possibly be available in those rounds consist of players like DeAndre Swift from Georgia, Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin, J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State, Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU, Zach Moss from Utah, and Cam Akers of Florida State. And we're going to take a look at all of them today. Now, Swift is the only back with the potential to stumble into the first round with a late selection. After 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons at Georgia, he has established himself as the top-ranked back in this class throughout the entire draft process. The Lions be looking to take advantage of his sure-handed receiving ability, as he's dropped only 3 of his 76 catchable balls in his career, according to Pro Football Focus. His all-around game will translate well to the NFL while complementing Stafford's ability to check down when intermediate and deep routes are unavailable. If you're asking me, is Swift my number one running back on my board? The answer is no. But you cannot deny his all-around ability. Now, this next guy is my number one back on my board, and I'm talking Wisconsin's Jonathan Taylor. Now, Taylor doesn't offer much in the passing game, right? But he surely makes up for it in a big way on the ground. Being a former prep track star, he possesses explosive, straight-line speed and pairs it with a strong 220-pound frame. After waiting patiently for his blocks to develop, the elite college runner breaks arm tackles with ease, all while contact barely slows him down. After 3 seasons as a starter in Madison, the New Jersey native totaled 6,159 rushing yards and 50 touchdowns on 925 career attempts. He is exactly the type of workhorse back the Lions need. And I'll tell you what, if they went out and got him in the second round, I would absolutely be jumping on the bed. Now, this next running back is a lot like Jonathan Taylor. But let me tell you this, J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State, boy, that guy gets me going. Well, at Ohio State, Dobbins proved to be the Buckeyes' own version of a workhorse back. In the end, he may prove to be the best back coming out of this draft class. After 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons, the junior exploded in 2019 en route to over 2,000 rushing yards and 21 touchdowns. With NFL-caliber size and burst, he is a true home run threat with incredible strength in his lower half. Pro Football Focus ranked J.K. first in carries of 15-plus yards among all eligible backs in college last year. He's capable of running between the tackles effectively and grinding out tough yards up the middle, too. Rival fans in Ann Arbor are definitely happy to see him leaving campus. Now, this next guy, he's got an extremely unique skill set, and he doesn't quite have the resume that some of the other guys have, but he was very effective last season. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's a poor man's version of Swift, right? This LSU back improved his draft stock more than anyone this past season as Joe Burrow's complementary partner in a title-winning backfield, all the way to helping LSU win a national championship. Now, as a junior, Helaire averaged 6.6 yards per carry and hauled in 55 receptions on 64 targets. With the ability to progress in and out of cuts, he is hard to tackle. The Lions are in dire need of an every down back like CEH. He's the little engine that could. Let me tell you that. Now, as we go deeper down the positional rankings, we hit a guy from Utah named Zach Moss. Now, Utah's Zach Moss is an elusive slashing back that hails from a talent-rich Miami, Florida. He has NFL bloodlines that include his cousins, Santana and Sonoris Moss, 2 guys that played big roles in the NFL in the earlier part of the millennium. He's been one of college football's best backs since emerging as a sophomore in 2017. He doesn't have breakaway speed. He ran a 4.65 40-yard dash, but Pro Football Focus ranked him second in forced missed tackles and 8th in yards after contact in all of college football last season. His NFL comparison is Kareem Hunt. Detroit fans are sure to be drooling all over that possibility, as they've been rumored to be in the free agent market for the real Kareem Hunt. Finally, the last guy that we're going to talk about here is Cam Akers from Florida State. Now, Cam Akers can prove to be a really good value for the Lions later on during day 2 of the draft. He is used to running behind weak offensive lines and has comparable attributes to Swift, Dobbins, and Taylor. Well, if you're going to the Detroit Lions, obviously you're not going to be playing behind a very good offensive line. As fans alike, you guys all know that. Now, the team could snatch the Florida State junior at a fraction of the other's cost. His thick legs bode well for attributing strength in his above-average pass protection grades that are a sure benefit to an aging Stafford. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder and take on linebackers. However, he's a little bouncy in the backfield, and he needs to improve as a one-cut runner. But as a former 5-star recruit that had offers from all the big schools, including teams like LSU and Alabama, it's important to understand that Cam has a lot of the tools that could flourish in the right situation. The depth in this class is real, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully the Lions are paying attention because they cannot afford to move forward without a reliable feature back that is capable of grinding out tough runs inside. Often last season, they would lose leads late due to their doormat defense and inability to chew the clock. The ghost of Barry Sanders has been haunting Motown for years. And it's time GM Bob Quinn and Patricia step up and build this team in the same vision of the New England Patriots that they lust to mimic. Pairing a revamped defense with a young, capable back just may have Stafford's back and even allow the Lions to sneak into an extended playoffs. Something they haven't done since losing to Seattle in the wild card round in 2017. That's all I've got for you guys today. I'm Michael Scott. You've been listening to Final Take.